Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm your host, the voice of reason, Dave Dunaway. It's Thursday, August 14th, 2025, and you're listening to The Sports Voice. Week 2 of the NFL preseason for your Pittsburgh Steelers is this Saturday at home against Tampa Bay, and this may shock you, everyone, but Aaron Rodgers isn't going to play. And this may shock you even more, along with most of the starters. Yes, that's right. None of the Steelers starters, outside of maybe a few, are going to play in Week 2. Now, there are only 3 weeks of the preseason. Are they going to play in Week 3? Because Mike Tomlin was always notorious for not playing any starters in the final week of the preseason. Is it possible we get through the entire preseason and don't see pretty much every single starter for this Pittsburgh Steelers team at all playing in an actual game? But hey, don't worry. They look great at camp. They look phenomenal against each other. Just turn on any of the local news stations. You will hear them heaping praise all over them. You will think it's the 2000s New England Patriots, the way they talk about this Pittsburgh Steelers team. Yes, Aaron Rodgers, I know he had a little incident at camp a couple of days ago, but he's just fine and looks fantastic. So does everyone else. Even Will Howard with the little cast on his hand looks fantastic with that. It looks great. The guys come and sign it right all over. Absolutely phenomenal. So there's nothing bad that could possibly be said about the Pittsburgh Steelers, probably until Week 1 when they come out and lay an egg at home against the New York Jets. For all of the talk that we've heard about Broderick Jones looking horrendous, it didn't really seem like it on Saturday. Actually, nobody really looked that egregiously bad on Saturday, except maybe the new running back. I know that's not something that people were expecting to see. Looked like a poor attempt at Le'Veon Bell, but in the end, that was probably the most that I've heard from anybody on that field that was negative. Everything else was positive. Skylar Thompson stole the show in his audition for another team while he was out there. Mason Rudolph looked okay as the starter, and of course, you know, the actual starters, most of them nowhere to be found in that game. So we'll break down a little bit of Steelers Jaguars. I can say this, and I would have said this before the game. We're going to talk a little bit about the South divisions, not the way we normally do it, just a little conversation. The Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be really bad, really bad. And when I started to look at their roster, it's even worse than I thought. They're going to be really bad. A lot of talk about I think the Saints have better personnel than what Jacksonville has. If they were trying to do something to give something to Trevor Lawrence to try to resurrect his career, they certainly did not succeed in doing that in the offseason. Their two best players are a second year and a rookie wide receiver. I can't imagine what you saw from the Steelers this past Saturday is any indication of what their season could turn out to be. If anything, none of the starters played, so you didn't really see much of that. We found out earlier this week, Cam Hayward hinting to the fact that he's not going to play at all until the Steelers negotiate with him and give him a new contract. We talked a little bit last week about Cam Hayward just signing this contract last year. He was okay to put pen to paper 365 days ago, but now all of a sudden it's not good enough. I get it. If you sign it 3 or 4 years ago and other people come through and they've signed contracts and you sit there and say, wait, I'm better than them, I should be making a little bit more money. He signed it last year and he's 36 years old. So to me, a little confused by this, especially with everything you hear about Cam and what a great guy he is, predominantly in the community. But there's that drama that's going on. Add to the mix Chris Boswell, the kicker. A lot of drama there. Boswell wants a new contract. Boswell hasn't been practicing. We saw Ben Sauls from Pitt kicking on Saturday. Looked pretty good. I mean, these guys sit around like they're better than everyone else and that the team needs them more than they need the team. I mean, Boswell was probably team MVP, but in the end, you're just a dime a dozen, especially if you're a kicker or a punter in the NFL. They've got this punting competition between Johnston and Waitman. I mean, does it matter, really? I mean, whoever comes in is going to kick it at least 40 yards pretty much every time, unless it's Presley Harvin. I can't imagine anybody being that egregiously bad. With kicker, maybe if you don't have a kicker that's automatic, maybe you actually try to open the offense up finally and try to score touchdowns instead of field goals. Guaranteed Tomlin will never do that. He didn't even really do it in a preseason game last week. In the preseason, a lot of times you see the offense open up a little bit. I didn't really see that. So all indications tell me, regardless of who the quarterback's going to be this year, and we know it's going to be Aaron Rodgers for at least a little bit, I don't think it's going to open up as much as probably everyone is hoping it's going to open up based on what we saw this past Saturday. There wasn't a lot to see, but there were some things that I noticed, and we'll definitely talk a little bit about that and what to expect in week 2 with virtually the same players out there going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Pittsburgh Pirates have hit an all-time low, so low that the entire city of Milwaukee has been given free hamburgers because of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Actually, it's because the Milwaukee Brewers won 12 in a row, and it's a promotion that dates all the way back to when they had the Braves in Milwaukee. But the Pittsburgh Pirates, they are just horrendous at this point. And there's a lot of people that you can point fingers at for why they are where they are. Bob Nutting probably should be first and foremost, although a very close second is GM Ben Cherington, who has just devastated this team with what happened at the trade deadline. Absolute disaster. And that's not the surprise, because every trade deadline with Ben Cherington has been an absolute disaster. But here we are a couple of weeks removed from it. What do we have to show for it? Even the guys he acquired aren't on this team, and they were 28 and 24. Where's Bubba Chan? Where are these guys? Where are the guys that you assumed were going to come up? You trade away your third best pitcher, and what takes his place? Johan Oviedo for an inning and then a bullpen pitcher? It's Ashcraft. Maybe it's going to be Majinski the next time. I mean, what is this? This certainly isn't baseball. This is the mess that Ben Cherington has made of this team year after year after year, and yet he was allowed to keep his job when Derek Shelton, who's as incompetent as anyone I've ever seen, got fired. They both should have been fired together with new ideas coming in to try to figure out how to win with less. And before you tell me that can't happen, let's see how much money Milwaukee has. Let's see how much money Detroit has. These are small market teams. The Pirates tell you you can't win as a small market team. Milwaukee's the best team in all of baseball. Detroit's the best team in the American League. Their payrolls aren't necessarily huge, but they bring up prospects at the rate they should be brought up. They actually develop. They pay attention and do a little research when they draft. They don't just draft the high school pitcher because they can bury him in the minors for 5 years. They actually bring in the best possible people. And don't tell me the Pirates draft the best possible people, because then you have to try to explain to me in 2021 how Henry Davis was the first overall pick. Because even back then, if you look at projections, he was 7th, not first. They picked him because they thought they needed a catcher, and then as soon as he arrived, said, we don't want him to catch. Now he's a pretty good defensive catcher. Can't hit for anything, as are most of the other players on this roster. So a lot to attack with the Pittsburgh Pirates. They're at maybe the lowest point they've been. I know people still have hope, and they think, well, maybe this can happen and that can happen. They haven't changed that roster. Yeah, they bring a relief pitcher up and send a relief pitcher down. They haven't changed those position players since the trade deadline. It's all the same people outside of O'Neal Cruz getting placed on the IL after he slid into Jack Sawinski trying to catch a ball. That's the only change that's made. And if he didn't get injured, he'd still be there. Oh, yeah, they benched him one day. Fantastic. They should have benched him for a week based on his performance and his lackadaisical attitude out there. But in the end, they are what they are. And Bob Nutting can say all he wants about how worried he is about his legacy, and he doesn't want to be the owner that imploded the Pittsburgh Pirates. In the end, he is the owner that imploded the Pittsburgh Pirates. He had a chance to maybe make something out of it for a few more years, chose not to because he wasn't making as much money as he was when he would just tank it every year. And now you see where they are. Absolutely deplorable horrible, so bad that Rob Manfred is traveling all around Major League Baseball trying to feel out players and management over the possibility of a salary cap. And the example he continues to use when he does it is the Pittsburgh Pirates. If we don't need a salary cap, how is this team so bad year after year after year? Reality, do they need a salary cap? Probably, but they don't 100% have to have one. The Pirates do this to themselves. They do it purposely. They want to make sure they take every piece of that 30 pieces of silver that's handed to them at the beginning of the year by Major League Baseball. They don't want to invest any of it into payroll or into that roster, because if they do, then Nutting says that costs him profit. He could make more. He made less money. He still made money. He made less money in 13, 14, and 15 when he tried to make that roster a little bit better. So he decided, well, we didn't really make anything. I actually lost off of what I could have made. We're just going to go through like we used to do it before and just not put the investment in. He allots a certain amount of payroll at the beginning of the season. That's what the general manager has to use. They don't get any more than what they're given then, and you basically make do and try to figure out how to put a winning team out there. That's a problem. Ben Cherington trying to figure out how to put a winning team out there is also a problem, and that's what we've run into in the last several years with the Pittsburgh Pirates. I've got a lot to break down. I don't go really too much in depth. I'd rather just sit here and scream and yell at them for being so bad. But just sitting back and thinking about, I know why they're so bad and why other teams in similar situations are not so bad. And it's sheer and utter laziness on the part of their management, and it's sheer and utter greed on the part of their owner. That is why they are where they are year in and year out. In addition to that, we're going to begin our trip around the National Football League. I didn't really advertise it much last week because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do it how I normally did it. What I would do is I'd pick the entire schedule, which I still intend to do. I'm not giving you any records this week. I'm not giving you any records for the next 4 weeks. We're going to just talk. We're going to talk about teams. I know a lot of people out there listening are probably getting close to ready for their fantasy football draft. I have my first one tomorrow. There are a lot of players that have changed teams in the offseason. So just to sort of talk about what potential a lot of these teams have. And as we normally do, we're going to start with the AFC and NFC South to get them out of the way, because these are probably the two worst divisions in the National Football League going into next year. So get that out of the way. Next week we'll do the West, then we do the East, then we do the North. And then at that point, once I see how many more people are going to get hurt, then I'll pick the schedule. And when we come on that week before the start of the NFL season, I will give you, like I normally do, every record for every team. I'll do the playoffs, and I'll get you through to the Super Bowl and announce my Super Bowl champion. Also, here at WMBS, we're going to do our weekly picks. We're going to do it a little more formally this year. Nick and I will pick, along with TJ, Brian, probably Josh, maybe Bill. We'll open it up to anyone who wants to do it. Try to figure out a way to post them so that everyone can see who does better and who does worse each week. It'll give you an indication. A lot of guys are on the air on a lot of different shows here, so you can listen to them sort of all throughout the day at different times, and they like to talk sports most of the time when they're on as well. So it'll give you some indication of where we all are in relevance to how we're picking these games. So a lot happening. There always is. Now we're into the middle of August. And, if you live in Pittsburgh, you're almost 100% focused on the Steelers, because normally by this time the Pirates are horrible. This year, no different. They're 20 games under 500 with that loss yesterday afternoon, floundering in last place, 26 or 27, something like that, games behind the Brewers. No chance at anything. So why not? Let's get excited. The Steelers got a win in their first preseason game. A lot of older veteran players who have had pretty decent accomplishments throughout their career. Get excited for something that, even though it'll probably be mediocre, will at least be better than what you're looking at with your Pittsburgh Pirates. Nick Barczyk is here with me. I know this is Nick's favorite time of the year too. We get ready to make our picks. We've done that for a long time on here, Nick. We've made picks, not with everybody, but you and I have done it probably 5-6 years, or maybe longer than that at this point.
I was thinking 30 or 40. It all runs together, Dave.
Maybe.
Either it's been really long or really short, one of those. But no, it's been, you're right, about 5-6 years. It's a lot of fun. Now we pick with the spread, and we're growing up, Dave. Another year, and we're going to make it even more intense this year. I guess you want to make the staff do more work, which is admirable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if I were here, I would do all that work gladly,
Yeah,
but
I know.
I don't have the opportunity to do that, nor do I have access to our Facebook page. So there's a couple
Yeah.
of things that just prevent me from
Roadblocks.
being able to do that. Yes, but I mean, I'm all for if anybody wants to do it. That way, everyone out there listening can get a better, when people turn me on and say, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, hey, maybe when I pick and I'm way over 500, maybe you'll change your mind a little bit about what you think I know and don't know about what's going on here in the world of sports. So I did get an opportunity. I don't know, Nick, we were on the fence last week. I know about watching the game. I can't say I watched every second of it, but I did watch a little bit of it. Did you decide to sit and watch Steelers-Jaguars this past Saturday?
I was out, but it was on where I was, and yes, I saw a good bit of it. Watched the highlights, and I share many of your opinions. The Jags will be bad. Trevor Lawrence, I don't think is ever going to get there. Hunter is a great athlete, but he's not going to be enough. And the Steelers, well, there were some things that I liked, some things I didn't. Caleb Johnson, 20 carries, 8 yards, was alarming. But outside of that, we know what Mason Rudolph is. Skylar Thompson's not going to be on this roster, and we didn't see Aaron Rodgers or Will Had. So I think I said the Yinzer pronunciation for Will's name right. Yeah, so it's the first preseason game. Will we learn anything from any of these preseason games? Most likely not, but they're entertaining, I think.
One of the things probably that agitated me more than anything else going into this game, and I don't begrudge Rodgers for not playing because he's never played. His whole career, he's never played in the preseason. Okay, that's fine. Don't say you're going to because you don't think you're going to have to. And then you get into a situation where you kind of have to, and then you backtrack on it and say, oh, well, no, I don't think I'm going to play this week. And then next week rolls around, and he's not going to play next week either. Now, I get it. I get the gap between Rodgers and Rudolph. But if Rudolph's going to go out there and play, and he's going to play well, he was 9 of 10 on the couple of drives that he was out there for with a touchdown pass. Now, I get it. It was against Jacksonville. I don't care if it's Jacksonville's starters or backups. It's Jacksonville. Their starters would probably be backups on most other team in the National Football League. But why not have a legit competition here? Why not say, hey, look, dude, you don't want to play, that's fine. We'll put the guy in who wants to play. He's out there, playing well. I know a lot of people talking about Skylar Thompson, and that's great, and he's got no shot at making this roster. Will Howard's on this roster, guaranteed. Rudolph's on this roster, guaranteed. Thompson's playing for another job somewhere else.
Yep.
Looked really good, but he's playing for a job somewhere else. But, I mean, to me, if Rudolph's going to be out there, give him a legit shot to play. What are you really expecting from Rodgers anyways? 3 weeks before he's out for the year with an injury? I mean, to me, at least Rudolph played. He could have said the same thing. He's a veteran. He could have said, yeah, I don't think I'm going to play. It's preseason. I don't think I'm going to do it. Rodgers has done this his whole career. And to me, once again, if he would have said from the start, I'm not playing in preseason, yeah, people would have been angry with him, but at least it would have been honest. That's my biggest issue. It has been, he's on my top 3. He's on my Mount Rushmore of athletes I hate, Aaron Rodgers. And most of it is because he's an outright liar. Most of the time, if his mouth opens, you can guarantee there's a lie coming out of it. And he got caught in it this time because he tried to act like he would play. And then when Howard got hurt, and he almost had to, he basically said, no, I'm not doing it. I'm going to sit. So exposed again for the lie. I mean, to me, that's not a teammate I would want. Not at 41 years old. Maybe if he was in his 20s and 30s, I could overlook it because he was pretty good in his prime.
He was darn good.
But now, where have the Steelers fallen to that they put up with this nonsense year after year after year?
Dave, you accusing Aaron Rodgers of being a fibber, I will just not stand for that.
He might
ridiculous.
be a bigger fraud than his buddy Tomlin.
Well, there's that. I mean, the darkness retreat, the hallucinogenics, whatever he's doing, I'm sure it sounds fun. But yeah, Tomlin and Rodgers, it's going to be an interesting pair this year. We'll see how long he's healthy. It's up to the O-line to keep him upright, and I would not play him in the preseason. Even, you're right, in his 20s and 30s, he wasn't out there. So in his 40s, don't risk it. But yeah, I mean, the quarterback room is set. pretty much every position is set. I mean, are there any real position battles here? We know
It's
what
like
the roster's
the Pirates
gonna be.
going into spring training. They know the roster. There's no point even having camp or having preseason games.
No.
The Steelers know Tomlin is not going to change off of that. He knows his whole roster before the first day of camp.
Yeah, and they love veterans. Rookies are not going to get in there. Though Harmon, he'll get in, and
He should.
He should, and we'll see about Caleb Johnson. I think he should be the starting running back. People, I don't know if they view Jaylen Warren as a one because he was undrafted. Najee, who I think Warren was better than Najee, got the start because he was the first rounder at Alabama. But Johnson was underwhelming the other night, and we'll see if he gets more touches. Maybe he'll improve. I think he should be the starter. The main issue, the offensive line keeping Rodgers up in this wide receiver room. They don't have a number 2 receiver. I guess they're saying it's Calvin Austin. And DK Metcalf, he's a little past his prime. Is he even a good one? So we shall see.
I'll go with your first point on the running back situation. You know what would be nice? Can we see Jaylen Warren as a one?
Yeah.
Every time we've seen Warren, he's been the second running back.
Always.
He's never been the clear-cut number 1. How about, since you're promoting him, can we get him out there on the field? Because apparently he's not playing this week either.
Oh, geez.
So can we get him out
Is
there?
he hurt? I mean, what?
No,
why would they not play
none of the
him?
stars. They don't want stars to play. Maybe they're afraid they're
Well,
going to get hurt because there's no depth on
I'd
this
play him
team.
a series.
Put him out there for something. So we've not seen him at the start of a game. We've not seen him as the clear-cut number 1. They bring in Caleb Johnson to be the number 1, and he doesn't look good.
No.
He's averaging 2.5 yards a carry at 8 carries, and averaged not even 3 yards a carry.
bad.
I mean, he's trying to hit holes. He's bouncing around. Like I said, it looked like a cheap Le'Veon Bell imitation, but Bell could do that and still get positive yardage. Johnson's dancing around back in the backfield and then getting tackled back there or possibly a yard or 2 downfield. It just, to me, it looked like a learning curve that probably is going to take a little bit of time for him to figure out. Now, the Steelers did bring in Trey Sermon, who I do like, but his yards per carry were less than Caleb Johnson's. And he only had 3 carries, but he also only had 7 yards. They brought Evan Hall over from the Colts. He had 6 carries for 7 yards. Like, if you want to run the ball, which we know is what the Steelers want to do, they can tease you and they can talk about, we're going to try to open the offense. We're going to try to pass the ball around a little bit. To who? Maybe in the red zone with your 2 mountain tight ends. Maybe DK Metcalf can break double coverage at some point. But we all know what's going to happen. A lot of running plays, a lot of screen passes, which is very similar to a running play. Clearly, 25 carries for 66 yards against one of the worst defenses in the National Football League, with starters and backups both in there for Jacksonville, is not going to get the job done. You can say what you want if you're Mike Tomlin, but we all know you. You've been around since 2007. You talk a lot of nonsense every year about how things are going to change, and then the season starts and everything's identical. The defense is identical. The offensive play calling is identical. The razor-thin playbook is the same. Doesn't matter what puppet OC you put in there. They're still calling all of your plays. 25 carries for 66 yards isn't going to get the job done. And you're going to be playing better teams than Jacksonville when you're trying to do it. Now, what hope are we supposed to hang on to? Well, Jaylen Warren didn't play. If Jaylen Warren was there, he would have had more yards. It's amazing. This Lou Nichols had the most yards, 6 carries for 31 yards, but he did it at the end of the game in garbage time, and 1 carry went for 14 yards. So you've got to take a lot of things into account there. But what they were hoping to see from Caleb Johnson, they certainly didn't see in the first game. And that was probably the most negative of everyone. I just listened to the locals. I didn't listen to any of the national coverage because I figured the national coverage won't know who any of these people are because they didn't play any starters. So the locals, they're up there trying to bum autographs off these people. I figured, well, they'll know Caleb Johnson. I mean, they were down on him. And if they're down on somebody, they've got to be really bad. So my take is, not only did Johnson look bad in this game, but he's probably not looked too great in camp either, or we would have been hearing for 5 days how great he is in camp. Don't let that game deceive you. That's an anomaly. He's been doing this at camp. He's been doing that at camp. I don't know, Nick. I haven't been listening to everybody, but I haven't heard about anything good Caleb Johnson's done at camp. So I'm assuming that he's just as bad there as he was in this game.
Yeah, and that's upsetting when you draft a guy in the second round and maybe be your starting running back and you trade away Najee. It's upsetting if he's not performing in camp and didn't look good in the first preseason game against a really bad Jacksonville team. Yeah, we'll see him again Saturday night against the Bucs, who have a much better defense. And yeah, it's disappointing because I don't even know how much Aaron is going to want to run the ball. He's going to want to air it out, I think, but you have to have a running game. You just do. And Tomlin said, well, our defense can be legendary. Well, how about the offense be legendary eventually? And it would start with a good running game.
I agree. Now, you asked the question, who's going to be the number 2 wide receiver on this team? Now, it's hard to judge it because Rudolph was playing and not Rodgers. It's a lot easier if Rodgers is out there because then you can see who he has chemistry with. The number 2 wide receiver is going to be Roman Wilson. I think that's probably about as clear-cut as anything. Austin, just because of his speed, we know he's the fastest player in the history of the National Football League. Because of his speed, he fits that slot position almost automatically. Yeah. So Roman Wilson, who had 2 catches for 24 yards from Rudolph, to me is clear-cut. He's going to be the number 2. Once you get beyond those 3, you got Robert Woods. Did he play? I didn't see him. I assume he was sitting as well. So you got him as the 4, and then you've got a couple of spots left. Maybe you keep 5, maybe you keep 6. You're going to keep Ben Skoranek because he's special teams. So to me, then the battles between Scotty Miller and this Keyshawn Williams, who I thought looked really good, and he can return kicks and punts. I liked him. To me, that was probably the guy that stood out most to me, just for his elusiveness, his speed. I know it was at the end of the game against a bad team, but that's a guy, if I'm the Steelers, I'm giving another look to, because regardless of how you rank these receivers, outside of Metcalf, none of them really are a 2. You've got to try to find somebody, a diamond in the rough somewhere. Maybe he's the diamond in the rough. Hard to say, but I was more impressed by what I saw from him than I was from a lot of the other players who were out there, including Scotty Miller. Miller had 4 catches, though, so yeah. I'll give him that.
Yeah, but he's Scotty Miller. So, yeah, well, you think Roman Wilson will bump up to the 2? I mean, yeah, that's a possibility. We'll see who Rodgers likes. We can't see it in a game, and we won't until the first week against the Jets. So I think DK, I'm sure he'll have chemistry with because they're roommates and they're both veterans and, just know how the NFL works. I'm not sure if Austin and Wilson do, but... Yeah, the tight end position as well. Jonnu Smith, they should be better in the red zone. That's our only hope.
Well, they didn't play either.
Because if we don't have a kicker, well, though I hear Ben Sauls is a good softball player. He won the home run derby at camp.
There you go.
So that's a great memory he can tell his kids after he doesn't make the league.
Can he hit a baseball?
Yeah.
Maybe he could move across town.
Exactly. So if Boswell can't kick those layup field goals, I guess Sauls will. But how about score some touchdowns when you get to the red zone?
Well, we saw Darnell Washington get a touchdown in the red zone.
He did.
So we did see that. Now, a lot of talk. Does he make the roster? Because Connor Hayward has to make the roster.
The fullback, yeah.
So you got to start thinking, well, how many are you going to keep? Because when I look at the running backs, like Warren, Johnson's making the roster.
Yes.
Trey Sermon should make the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe keep one more and keep Hayward. That'd be your 5. And then you could keep your 3 tight ends. Although this Galbraith kid looked good. He'll be practice squad.
Don't let a preseason game against Jacksonville warp your mind, Dave.
No, I agree.
Anyone would look good.
Well, but you know why Galbraith looked good? He can block.
Yeah,
they like that because the line normally can't block.
No.
So you need to have those guys to be able to come in and do that. Defensively, Jacksonville put up 25 points. A lot of that was against backups. Mm-hmm. I didn't really see anything that stood out outside of maybe Beanie Bishop, but we know Beanie. Beanie's been there for a couple of years from West Virginia, local guy. James Pierre, I forgot he was on the roster. How that guy is still out there blows my mind. He did not impress me. Beanie impressed me. Cole Holcomb impressed me.
Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing him.
If he can stay healthy, nice to see him back in action. Of course, Mouse Killebrew, he's got the automatic slot because he's the special teams captain. Peyton Wilson looking at a couple tackles, so he started because most of the starters didn't play. But I didn't see anything really that stood out on defense. What'd you actually think of Ben Saul's kicking?
From what I saw, he didn't make the 70-yarder. That was the Jaguars guy, Little. That was amazing.
Yeah, but they drafted Little. Was he like a 3rd-round pick or something last year? He's high.
Good. He's good. Doesn't count, though, in the record books. But Sauls, I don't know. I mean, if Boswell keeps this holdout going. Now, Boswell doesn't have a brother on the team like Cam does, so that could be a factor in the negotiations.
Right.
Yeah, and he's never been man of the year. But, Sauls, he's not making this team, is he? No.
Well, if Boswell doesn't sign, somebody has to make the team.
That's true. He'll sign.
Does he make a team? You think so? I mean, you saw him kick Pitt for all those years.
Yeah. Oh, I love Pitt. Never miss a game. Maybe they have kickers on the practice squad. He could make that.
He could, and I'm sure he will. If
he'll get a job
if nobody
somewhere.
else wants him.
Sure.
We had the punting competition. Cam Johnson and Waitman. Johnson had 2 punts, 94 yards. Waitman punted a 57-yarder.
He did. There's a punting controversy. Oh, the Steelers. What are they doing?
Hey, at least they can both punt.
That's true.
Like the days of Presley Harvin.
Oh, the third.
That experiment.
That was
at least
awful.
those are done at this point.
He was no Chris Gardocki.
No.
Yeah.
But in the
him?
end, the Steelers are victorious 31-25, 1-0 in the preseason. They've got Tampa Bay this week, and was it Carolina next week? And that is the end of the preseason. Eventually, we'll only have 2 preseason games for nobody to play in, and then an extra regular season game. So, yes, a lot happening in the National Football League. There's your recap. Pittsburgh Steelers winning the first one over what did they get lucky? They got Jacksonville. Well, Tampa's pretty good.
Well,
And then Carolina.
it'd be better if they got these teams in the regular season, Carolina and Jacksonville. Tampa is going to win the NFC South by default, I think. Hope I didn't step on your preview. But
No,
that's
I
a
didn't
bad
see anybody
division.
else. I didn't see anybody else that stood out to me in that.
Oh, those are bad divisions of the South, yeah.
Tampa got better.
Yeah.
I was when I
Have a
looked
good
at some of their
roster.
additions,
Yeah, they do.
they got better.
They made a run last year. They almost won a playoff game.
Well, they got some weapons there for
Baker.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah. Love
tight end
Bowles.
is I don't know about Kate Otten, but
Kate
as far as
Otten.
everything else,
Brady loves them, yeah.
yep, they are
What
loaded.
are you going to do?
So,
All right.
well, let's take a break. When we come back, why not? We'll do the South. We'll see what we can get through. We'll do a little conversation on the AFC and NFC South, and we'll save the Pirates for the second hour. Nick's got, I'm sure, a lot to talk about with the WNBA. Is Caitlin Clark back in the WNBA?
I don't know. I hope their little scandals are right now. I mean,
Yeah.
you just hate to see flying objects at
So
games.
what, did they arrest you or did they just question you?
I was detained.
Okay.
Yeah, they questioned me for a little bit, make sure I wasn't a terrorist.
Okay.
There were no bombs in the things being thrown.
Okay.
It was just for fun. I'm just trying to have fun at these games, Dave. Come on.
Yeah, I couldn't figure.
I had a few Mick Ultras. What do you expect?
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's like drinking water.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Why save the heavy stuff for later in the evening?
All right, let's take a break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Warm weather is finally here, and with it, the opportunity to upgrade your lawn or yard with a new fence from All Around Fence Company. Conveniently located at 7896 National Pike, Uniontown, All Around Fence has been installing quality residential, commercial, and farm fencing for more than 45 years. Offering residential fencing including chain link, decorative aluminum, steel, and more, All Around Fence has a fence for you. All Around Fence is also your one-stop shop for Neutrina products and carries livestock, equine, and pet supplies too. So whether you need to upgrade an existing fence, add a new gate, or are looking to install an all-new fence, All Around Fence has the answers for you. Visit them Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. or give them a call at 724-439-0331. To learn more, visit allaroundfence.com.
Have you been told there is nothing that can be done for your neuropathy? Tri-State Neuropathy Centers is pleased to tell you that's not true. As one of the largest and most successful neuropathy treatment practices in the country, Tri-State Neuropathy Centers has grown to 9 regional centers and helped over 14,000 patients, like John from Morgantown. John had such extreme numbness and pain that he was having difficulty feeling his car pedals. Then John discovered Tri-State Neuropathy Centers and their effective FDA-approved treatment program that has no drugs, is non-invasive and painless. John's great results have given his freedom back, and he's doing the things he wants, like simply driving or cutting the grass. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers help John, along with thousands of others. Let them help you next. Call 304-777-2068. That's 304-777-2068. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers, the leader in treating peripheral neuropathy.
Zen's Antiques and Home Decor, a part of the Cinder Shack family of vendors where you can find both antique and new furniture, collectibles, housewares, gift items including jewelry and candles, and so much more. Follow Zen's Antiques and Home Decor on Facebook for new items and information on upcoming events. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor in Building 2 at 3391 National Pike in Farmington. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor.
I've been thinking about switching primary care providers. It takes forever to get an appointment, and when I finally get in, the staff acts like they don't even care that I'm there.
That's so frustrating. You deserve a provider who listens, values your time, and truly cares about your health.
That's exactly what I need. Someone who sees me as a person, not just another name on a chart.
Then you should check out Montgomery Medical. They treat you like family, offer personalized care, and even have same-day appointments.
At Montgomery Medical, your health is our priority. Call 724-569-8100 Montgomery Medical, a family tradition of family medicine.
Saving money when you buy a new home isn't a fantasy. It's reality at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. With up to $5,000 in instant savings during the Sign and Save sales event, it's the perfect place to find the home you've always wanted. So don't let your dream home stay a fantasy. Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon today at 4500 PA 51. Terms and conditions for the Sign and Save sales event at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating Clayton Homes family of brands retailers through August 31st. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
Welcome back to the Sports Voice. Well, I sort of teased we were going to talk about the AFC and NFC South, but I didn't really get through any of the Steeler news from the week. Aaron Rodgers, I heard, got a little bit banged up the other day at practice, Nick. Is he okay? I see he's not playing this weekend. I mean, I thought, maybe there's some kind of lingering injury there.
Well, Dave, I think he'll be all right. He's 41, so he could get hurt, getting up the stairs at this point. No, he'll be fine.
Was it a knee?
I don't know, but they iced it. Whatever it was, I saw a big thing of ice on his leg, so I hope he's all right. I'm praying for him.
Oh, we can only hope. The story that came out basically said that, not on Rodgers, this is different, about this weekend, that most of the Steelers starters will not be in action. DK Metcalf, Jonnu Smith, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward have already been announced as not playing. They've not announced anyone else as of yet, but they're alluding to the fact that there may be quite a few others who will not be in. The only one that was confirmed was linebacker Nick Herbig, who didn't play last week but is going to play this week.
Well, that's a reason to watch a Saturday night preseason game.
Yes, but they've not confirmed anyone else that hasn't played to play. So maybe I jumped the gun a little saying that Jaylen Warren definitely wasn't playing. He's not on the definitely not playing list.
He should.
But he's not been announced to be suiting up and playing either. So, who knows?
Whatever.
Who knows what's going on?
Yeah.
I guess I should look to see. So the lawsuit that was in effect by former Steeler assistant coach Tom Flores, also former New England Patriot assistant. This happened when he was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Apparently, it's going to trial.
Yeah.
There was a lot of talk as to whether or not it would or wouldn't.
Interesting.
Did this go before it's the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Manhattan? Okay, so that's where it was. That's why I wanted to look to see. I didn't think it was anything major. So the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Manhattan basically upheld the ruling that Flores can proceed with claims against the league and three teams, the Broncos, Giants, and Texans, who he basically said were in collusion to not hire him?
Yes.
That they just
Based on
gave him the
race.
token interview.
Right, yes.
They already had their coaches sort of in place with who they were going to get. So that could be something definitely to watch and follow, something interesting coming through the annals of the National Football League, because that could change hiring practices from now until the future as far as what teams are able to do and how these interviews have to be conducted. We know the Rooney Rule basically forces teams to at least interview a minority candidate, but most of those interviews are just token interviews. They do it because they have to, not necessarily any worth put into that. They kind of know who they want to hire anyways before they go through all their interviews. So this could change something. I always said that there should be some way And I don't know how you do it objectively because most of it's going to be subjective anyways.
Sure.
But you look at track records, but so many different candidates come from so many different places. It's so hard to do that. I mean, in the end, you're the owner. You're paying the money. You're going to pick who you want.
Yeah.
But I wish there was a better way to make sure you get the best possible person so that your fan base, your team, everyone can benefit from it, and maybe you can turn yourself around. Because usually if you're hiring a coach, it's because you're bad.
That's true. Some teams never fire the coach, even if maybe they should, because daddy and granddaddy didn't, and we're the Steelers, and we are the best.
And they definitely, we've said this for years.
By the way, they mail that for us to read. If we're fans of the team, that's what they want us to say. That's our token saying.
Yes,
the
we
Steelers
don't
were
fire
great.
coaches
It's
here.
always 1976 here. Yeah.
I think when you look at Tomlin, and this is nothing against his coaching ability, I don't think he's a terrible coach.
No.
But I think his message has worn thin here, and I don't think he'll ever win again here. I think that you're looking at mediocrity. He's been in place for a very long time. He's become very complacent. He's convinced he can win his way because he's won his way before, but it's been so long since he's done it. I think it is time for the Steelers to move on. I think it was probably time 4 or 5 years ago for the Steelers to move on, but they won't. And you're going to get the same result every year. I mean, you're looking at a team right now who went out like Christmas in July and started buying a ton of veterans because they don't have to worry about saving money because none of their young players have developed in the last 6 years. That's bad.
Yeah, they genuinely think they can win now, and if you're bringing in all these veterans, that should be the goal. This is not a long-term thing when you bring in Aaron Rodgers and all these other veterans, so they think they can win at least a playoff game, and I think they know deep down they're not a Super Bowl team anymore, but they are embarrassed by that no playoff win streak. They need to win a playoff game this year, and they think they can, and I think they can too. One, not multiple.
The problem is when all these veterans leave, what young players take their place?
Exactly.
It's just going to be another round of veterans that nobody else wants.
When you ticked off all the draft picks recently that have gone, so
right.
We'll see if Harmon and Johnson and Sawyer are still here in the next few years.
And look at the Rodgers situation. This wasn't an easy sign. He waited until the bitter end.
He didn't want
was
to come
talking
there.
to other teams.
Minnesota.
And nobody gave him an offer. If Minnesota gives him an offer, then the Steelers are sitting there with Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson.
And maybe they should have, because I think the Vikings have a fantastic roster, and we don't know about JJ, but yeah, Rodgers settled for the Steelers. They wanted him more than he needed them, or wanted them.
JJ was shaky.
Yeah, 4 of 7.
Yeah,
So same with Jackson Dart. He looked. Hey, have we not mentioned Shedeur yet? Would you make a Shedeur?
Shedeur looked good, but Shadeur's hurt. He's not playing this week.
Oh, what do we get? Dylan Gabriel.
No, you get them all. They're all back.
Flacco too.
They've all taken snaps this week, including former Steelers starter Kenny Pickett.
Wake Flacco up and tell him the news. He's an older gentleman.
Apparently he's playing. We'll see for sure if he does. Boy, would that be if Rodgers does it and Flacco goes out there and plays.
I mean, Mahomes and Burrow played, for gosh sakes. Yeah.
Right, and wanted to play more than what they did. Burrow had the whole offense was out. Chase was out there.
It was good to see Burrow and Chase out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The others were there, but Chase was getting all the balls.
Yes.
Higgins was out there.
He's so good.
Yeah, they were all out there.
Amazing.
So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting when you look and you, because you're here in Pittsburgh and you're like, why can't our guys do what those guys do? And why can't our guys do what those guys do? The other teams, they seem very willing to go out, and they might only have played last week, but that's their game. There's players on this team, I think, the concern is now their game's not going to come. They're not going to play at all in the preseason. And then you're going to hope they go out and they're not flat after, I'm sure, the gut-wrenching camp that just concluded up there at St. Vincent's. What do they do when camp's over? Like, how do they all get together to go to Dave & Buster's or watch a movie or something like
tough.
that?
Well, I guess they're closer now on the south side. The team facility's closer to Dave & Buster's.
Yeah, but they don't live there.
That's
true. They have
That's
to come and leave every day.
It's going to be tough. Yeah. They just, hey, I mean, they know when skee ball's happening. They all know.
What'd you think of Shedeur?
I thought he was great. I mean, better than I thought. He was throwing to absolute no-names, and the starters are going to be no-names. They're going to be bad. So are they bad enough to get Arch Manning? And that could be a great quarterback controversy, Arch against Shedeur next year. I thought he was fine. 12 of 19. He's athletic. He moves around. He's not the athlete his father was, of course, different positions anyway, but he's serviceable. I think eventually he'll start the majority of their games this year. I think he will. Flacco, week 1. Gabriel and Pickett, come on. Who are we kidding?
Even though teams passed on Shedeur 5 times, some of them, what he does in his career will always be linked to the Steelers because they were the team everyone assumed was going to draft him.
I thought they were going to take him that night.
Yeah.
Everyone did.
Possibly the first round.
As they were saying the name, I thought Goodell was going to say it, but yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I thought better than expected. I didn't think he was going to come out and really do anything impressive.
No.
But a couple of touchdown passes, like you said, throwing to no names, look good out there.
I think by the time the Steelers and Browns hook up late September, he'll be in there. Yeah.
I would agree. Kenny Pickett better be shopping around. Now he's got to contend with Skylar Thompson for teams that are cutting quarterbacks to try to get on a roster. I don't think he's going to make it. I think they keep Flacco for sure.
Yeah. Maybe him and Ben Sauls can get together. They're old college buddies. Yeah, I don't see it. And Dylan Gabriel's just, I don't think an NFL quarterback. He's just too small, and that's not a knock. It's just the way it is.
Well, he's not Drew Brees.
No.
There's a couple small guys that can get away with that.
Very few.
He's
Brees,
no Baker Mayfield.
Wilson, Mayfield, yeah. Who the Browns should still have on their roster. I mean, the fact they gave up on him looks bad.
Hey, I was going through and looking at numbers and stuff. You know, Baker Mayfield last year threw for 4,500 yards.
Mm-hmm. He had an amazing
year.
And
a ton of touchdowns, like 40-some touchdowns or something.
Now he has Evans, he has Godwin. Otten's a decent tight end, but still. You don't think Tampa is lighting up the scoreboard, but they did. Yeah, he's really good. I like him a lot. I've liked him more over the years.
Well, we'll talk. What my thought is, we'll talk heavily Texans and Buccaneers because they're probably the two gems out of those two divisions. Everybody
Cam
else,
Ward, the people who know football, film guys say he looks good and he's impressive, but I don't think they're going to win a division.
No. Well, they have Pollard back and they have Ridley back and they brought in Tyler Lockett
from Seattle.
Yeah,
Seahawks lost all their receivers. Yeah,
there's a few guys. When you look at Jacksonville and how bad they're going to be, and you look at Indianapolis and how bad they could be.
Yeah.
Tennessee might be a surprise. Not that they're going to make everybody's talking about New England being this surprise. I don't see them in the playoffs this year, but I see them close.
No.
I see Tennessee almost like Washington, but maybe not quite like Washington.
Yeah.
Kind of sneaking up that ladder a little bit.
Yeah, I think Tampa and Houston will win those divisions just based on pedigree and the fact that the rest of their divisions are awful.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, we'll bring that to you when we come back for hour 2. In addition to check-ins from Story, the Pirates, and who knows what else. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Feeling lucky? Your next big jackpot is waiting for you. Visit the casino at Nemacolin in Farmington, PA for the ultimate casino experience featuring the hottest table games, daily promotions, big-time giveaways, and an exciting variety of premium slots. And after, celebrate your big win with a juicy burger at the Royale while you watch the big game. Hotel packages available. Visit CasinoNemacolin.com for more information. The Casino at Nemacolin. Game on. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your local station, WMBS Uniontown.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. With Texas Democrats possibly moving closer to ending their walkout over the state's redistricting battle, California's governor is announcing his own plan for winning more Democratic House seats.
We have got to meet fire with fire.
He's calling for a special election in November to introduce new House maps.
We can't stand back and watch this democracy disappear district by district all across this country.
The maps need voter approval because an independent commission currently draws them. Tomorrow, President Trump heads to Alaska to meet with the Russian President Vladimir Putin. CBS's Willie James Inman is in Anchorage.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with the British Prime Minister to discuss tomorrow's meeting. Ukraine is not part of the summit, but European leaders have urged President Trump to push for a full ceasefire before discussing exchanging any territory.
Trump said today his anti-crime efforts in Washington will pay off quickly.
Sadly, what I guess the mayor did, but whoever it was, they asked the numbers to be fudged so that it would show less crime than the fact. The fact is, it's worse than it's ever been.
All 800 National Guard troops he activated have now deployed, and the city's police chief says her officers will share information with immigration authorities. Florida's governor says he's preparing to open a second immigration detention center, as Michael Wallace reports.
We are calling this the Deportation Depot.
Governor Ron DeSantis made the announcement at the Baker Correctional Institution in Sanderson in northern Florida. The prison was shut down in 2021 due to staffing shortages.
It'll be able to hold more than 1,300 illegal alien detainees. You will have the same services that you have at Alligator Alcatraz.
Deportation flights will take off from the nearby Lake City Gateway Airport. It'll take 2 to 3 weeks to get the new facility up and running. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Florida wildlife officials have given preliminary approval to a plan to reopen Apalachicola Bay for oyster harvesting 5 years after the waters were closed due to dwindling shellfish populations. The bay once produced 10% of the nation's oysters. WK Kellogg is the latest company to say it's removing artificial dyes from its products like Fruit Loops and Apple Jacks.
Kellogg's Fruit Loop cereal with natural fruit flavors. Orange, lemon, cherry, and lots of vitamin C.
Nike co-founder Phil Knight and his wife have given a record $2 billion to Oregon University's Cancer Center. Wholesale inflation surged unexpectedly last month. The tariffs on imports pushing costs higher for American consumers. Stocks finished mixed. The Dow was down 11 points. The Nasdaq was also down. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Pizza Kings in Connellsville is your go-to lunch and dinner spot with a full menu of mouth-watering pizzas and so much more. Using a deck oven helps our pizzas stay extra crisp. So if you haven't tried a slice lately, what are you waiting for? From our 50-slice King Carnivore to veggie pizzas and even pickle pizzas, Pizza King has the pie to match your taste. Pizza Kings, 1046 Morrell Avenue in Connellsville. Call 724-626-8343 or visit pizzakingswithaz.com.
Concerned about your heart health? At WVU Medicine, we believe your heart deserves world-class care, close to home and always within reach. Our non-invasive cardiology team uses advanced tests like stress tests and cardiac MRI to diagnose and monitor heart conditions without surgery. Call 877-WVU, the number 4HRT, or visit wvumedicine.org/heart.
A children's song that turned into an earworm is back in the news. CBS's Deborah Rodriguez has that.
And you thought you'd heard the last of this kitty ditty. South Korea's top court has thrown out a 6-year copyright claim against Baby Shark's producers. It's ruled against U.S. children's entertainer John Wright, stage name Johnny Only, who sued the Korean brand Pinkfong that turned the tune into a hit that went viral in 2016. Wright claims the music's his because he copyrighted his own version in 2011. Pinkfong insists it's based on a traditional sing-along. The South Korean court says Wright's version is too similar to get its own credit. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
August 15th is the 4th anniversary of the Taliban's return to power in Afghanistan. Kabul will be showered with flowers tomorrow. I'm Cammie McCormick, CBS News.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is being brought to you by Ultimate Structures, offering customized sheds, cabins, and metal buildings. Ultimate Structures is ready to design what you desire. Call today, 724-415-0020.
Good evening, 83 with some sun outside of our Davis & Davis studios. Feels like the low 90s at 5:05 on this Thursday. I'm Nick Barczyk from the Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. Davis & Davis injured. Our team is ready to fight for you. This is WMBS out to Story Square in just a bit with Josh and TJ. And now the news. I'm Nick Barczyk. A man was shot at a Fayette County scrap metal dealer this Thursday morning. The incident happened around 8:30 today at Route 51 Iron and Metal in Manellin Township. Fayette County District Attorney Mike Auble says Grant Headley, a former employee who was fired the day before, shot the business owner in the leg. The man is in stable condition. Headley went to the business with the intent to shoot, Auble says, adding that the owner is lucky. Headley turned himself in shortly afterwards, the state police force investigating. First-time filings for unemployment are down across Pennsylvania. That's according to the U.S. Labor Department, which says for the week ending August 9th, there were more than 9,600 first-time filings in the Keystone State. The number is down by more than 250 filings compared to the week before. Nationally, the number of initial unemployment filings dropped for the week. The second person killed in this week's deadly explosion at the U.S. Steel Clarendon Coke Works in Allegheny County has been identified as 52-year-old Stephen Menifee of Clarendon. He died in the industrial accident at the steel plant. That's according to the Allegheny County Medical Examiner's Office. The explosion also killed worker Timothy Quinn from Westmoreland County and injured 10 others, 3 of whom were still being treated at UPMC Mercy as of yesterday. An unknown number of people were treated at the scene. United Steelworkers Local 1557 has set up a GoFundMe campaign to support the families of those who died or were injured. There was a heavy police presence near a Pennsylvania Turnpike ramp in Westmoreland today. Multiple state troopers were on Route 30 near the Turnpike interchange in Irwin. An item was found by a PennDOT worker near the Toll Plaza, leading to dogs and a drone being brought in as a precaution. The item was sent for evaluation. Further information should be released in the next few days. And now Monica Nelson with today's consumer and business news.
GE Appliances is shifting production of refrigerators, gas ranges, and water heaters out of China and Mexico and back to the U.S. The company's president and CEO says GE Appliances will expand operations in Kentucky, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and South Carolina. The $3 billion investment is expected to add more than 1,000 jobs. The move comes as President Trump raises tariffs, in part to try and lure manufacturing back to the U.S. A federal appeals court has lifted an injunction on foreign aid payments. Mark Mayfield explains.
President Trump's administration was handed a victory when the appeals court lifted an injunction that required the State Department to continue making foreign aid payments. A 3-judge panel ruled 2-1 against a lower court's order to have the Trump administration restore foreign assistance payments previously approved by Congress. The ruling can open a pathway for the Trump administration to cut billions of dollars in foreign assistance funds and advance efforts to dissolve the U.S. Agency for International Development.
The state of New York is now suing Zelle. Tammy Trujillo with details.
Attorney General Letitia James filed a complaint Wednesday and said security lapses on the banking platform have allowed scam artists to steal over $1 billion from consumers. Zelle's parent company is owned by 7 major U.S. banks, including Bank of America, Chase, and Wells Fargo. James claims the banks knew for years the platform was vulnerable to scam artists, but resisted basic safeguards. Zelle claims the fraud starts when criminals trick people into sending money, and that holding the platform liable could lead to higher fees for consumers.
It's Josh Krysak here with Ron Romeo from Ultimate Structures outside of Perryopolis. Ron, is it true that at Ultimate Structures you can customize sheds and metal buildings to meet your client needs?
Absolutely, Josh. Each manufacturer that I represent offers an on-site design program to develop the building of your needs.
What kind of enhancements and options are available for those looking for a new shed or metal building?
We basically start out with a model without options. The customer chooses a style and size. There's hundreds of options available to design what works best for the customer's needs.
When you're ready to take your storage building game to the next level, call Ultimate Structures at 724-415-0020. Ultimate Structures, just outside of Perryopolis. They design what you desire.